Okay, this is where we've got to. I've left a lot of it out. There's only so much drilling and tapping you can watch before you go stir crazy. So, tilt that up, you'll see I got the bottom side. In the end, I decided to drill it just while I was in the mood, really. So, that is the angle plate, pretty much done that side. Well, not pretty much done, it is done. Flip it over. We've got the whole pattern and all that on the other side. It's all drilled and tapped M10. It's all ground, both sides, even on the front edges. So there's a bit of weight to it, but it's nice and rigid. When you nip these bolts up on the side, they take just, that's it, just a little bit, because the gap, I don't know whether we can see it in the camera, the gap between the two hinges at the end there, even when the bolts are loose, you know, you wouldn't get a feeler gauge in there, they're that close. So it works out quite well. So what my plan is these are one of the types of blades, wood chipper blades. So my plan is to sit them on there and just put an engineer square on the side here, square them up, put another bolt through here, and lock them in place, both of them, so I can do them both at once. Now, the problem is that I've got now, and I've only just realised it, I ordered a new clamping kit, and I ordered it thinking it was M10 thread, but it's not, it's M8. So somewhere along the line, something's pissed me off a bit really, because I've drilled all these M10 now. So anyway, they're the two of the mid-size blades that I have to sharpen. And I've also made this as well. This is just a bar to bolt on, I'll show you in a minute. But what my plan is, I've ground that both sides, well, all sides. I'm going to sit this thing on the milling table, and because these are loose and I've got a little bit of movement in them, look, on both of them. So we'll put one on and what we'll do, we'll dog it down, have to make the bolts as well, and then we'll have this tilted up. We'll do it now. I'll show you what my plan is, because we've got to remember that we're sharpening wood chipper blades. We're not trying to do anything too mad. So I'll stick that on the top of those two rollers. One side will be tightened up. Now I'll indicate along here and keep adjusting this one up and down until that rail's flat. I'll do it on the milling table, I suppose, would be the easiest way. Pardon me. So that's going to be used for that, but it's also going to be used for, crack these off. Just tighten one off in here. So then what we'll do, we'll take these out. And then this bar will bolt with the same bolts. One on there, one there somewhere, doesn't really matter where they go. And again, we'll do the same thing, we'll indicate along there, make sure that's flat, and these smaller ones will sit on there, on the fence. And my idea was I could bolt a clamp on there to hold them in place. But like I say, I'm a bit snookered now because they've sent the wrong bloody clamping kit. You know the ones I mean, with all the legs and everything that you have on the normal milling machine clamping kit. So I've got all my bit done. You know, I can set this at the desired angle. We can clock that bit of bar in. But now we've just got to find a way now to clamp these bloody things down. So anyway, well, we'll have to come up with something, won't we? And then we have the longer wood chipper blades that are about 14 or 15 inches long. Now what I suppose we can do with them is we can flip this over, can't we? We could bolt that on the bottom there, that way up. There's a fence, and we could clock that in, and we can sit them on there. Now, whether that's, I don't know if that's actually going to work yet, but we'll see. Because if you're wondering why I drilled so many holes in this bar, I just thought when the bigger blade's on, I can use these holes here, can't I, and clamp that blade on there. So this should do all the blades I want to do anyway. I know a lot of other different bits and bobs besides. So there was a lot of work's gone into this, a lot of grinding, a lot of drilling and tapping, as you've seen. But I'm quite pleased with how it's come out. Oops, more than the camera. So yeah, I think it'll do the job just nicely. Both these are turned exactly the same diameter, so and we can put these anywhere on the plate, can't we? So what I found with the surface grinding is, what's that finish like on that side? Yeah, I've scratched it already, look at those blades. But that's not a bad finish. I could have, if I'd have wanted, these were the two scrap bits that, you know, when I was cutting the hinges, I used this one to clamp them down on the milling table. But I ground both of those up, save for throwing them away, or scrapping them, for parallels. Now if you look, the finish on those two sides on this one is brilliant. This one's got a slight chatter lining down there, and the same on the other side. And what I found is, grinding for me, and I'm not saying this is how you should do it at all, but how I found that works best for me is I use the grinder a bit like when I'm taking the first passes over, I'm sort of roughing it all in, just like you would on the milling machine. And then when I've got it flat and everything's not too bad, I redress the wheel and come down and just touch it as lightly as I possibly can. Pardon me. And just take a few tenths all the way across, and then come back at the same setting, just have a look at the finish and see what sort of finish we've got. The finish on the underside of this face here on this side, which I can't really show you very well, is like a glass finish. It's absolutely spot on, that finish under there. And I did that just to see how good I could get it. Bit of a shout out really to your man at Solid Rock Machine Shop, because he's watching his videos over the last year or so has sort of pointed me in the right direction with a surface grinder anyway, and he's a wealth of information, really nice guy. So that's what I found, is that that old Jones and Shipman 540 grinder of mine, I used to say it's the first model of the 540 to come out, because maybe said before, it's got a big counterweight on the back. I've only ever seen a picture of one other one like that. It's not bolted down to the floor. It does move slightly when it's working, and I've got no way of balancing my wheels, but if I take my time and think about what I'm doing, and like I say, grind the surface so it's not bad, it's flat, and then redress the wheel and just take a couple of tenths all the way across and then all the way back again at the same setting, have a look. If I can still see any chatter lines in there from the passes before, I'll just give it another couple of tenths and go across and have another look, and then come back on the same setting. And if you do that, you will get a really, really good finish. The only downside to it is if you've already got a grinder, you'll know what I mean when I say this. You can spend hours and hours grinding these to get that glass finish if you want. I haven't, because I just haven't got hours and hours to spend. I've ground it to where, for the application that this is going to be used for, i.e. on the surface grinder pretty much, it's going to get covered in shite. Hopefully it won't get knocked about, but I've already scratched it all over there now, just putting those blades on there. So overall, yeah, I'm quite chuffed with how it's turned out, and it'll now make my life so much easier, because even with these smaller ones, well, the two lots I've just shown you, to grind these one at a time is a pain in the ass. To be able to now put them both on and do them both at once, especially these, because these will come out identical, won't they? There's not a lot left on these two though, because you can see the wear lines there. And these other ones, we've got down to the wear line there, so we've got a good bit to go on these. But when these have been ground, look, can we see that on camera? See that there? Is it concave, isn't it? So, but it won't be like that when I grind it, because I'll just grind them flat. And these won't take much to sharpen, because it's only going to really touch that front face there until it's flat. But they never used to be like that. These, when I first started doing them, they all used to have a straight grind on them. So I don't know why they've started to put that curve bit in. Maybe to stop people like me from sharpening them. I don't know. But right, so on to the next bit. I'm going to see about getting these mounted on here, get them on the surface grinder, and we'll see how she performs, see if we can get them sharpened up. So I'm going to finish my tea, and then that's what I'm going to do. So see you at the surface grinder. That's good. We're all set up, ready to go. There was just something I wanted to show you guys. There we go. This is the filter that I use on the surface grinder. So all the coolant goes back, can you see that? All the coolant goes back through the filter there. And this is a magnet inside of that. That's all you do, pull the magnet on it. Now what they are, they're back on that. It's off a heating system. They're called magnet filters. So that pipe coming off the top of it is the return line back to my coolant tank. Get me words out of it. Back to my coolant tank down there, and all it does, it has to run through that magnet before it goes back into the coolant tank. Now I put that on this surface grinder when I got it, and I don't know how long I've had it now. I've had it over a year, I suppose. I'm still using the same coolant. I haven't changed it. The coolant's nice and smooth still. It doesn't smell or anything. All the metal particles that the grinding wheel takes off the work that you're doing, it doesn't just sit in the coolant and float back down. It kind of mixes with the grit off the wheel, and everything gets caught in that filter. And you know when it wants emptying out is when the coolant starts to slow down, flowing out the surface grinder. It works absolutely brilliantly. So if you've got a surface grinder with coolant on it, that is a really good way to go. And what you need to do is, I mean, they're about anywhere from 80 to 150 quid to buy them new. All the boiler manufacturers nowadays, be Worcester, Grant or whoever, when you fit one of their boilers, if you put a magnetic filter on the boiler, on the return pipe to it, you get an extra 2 years warranty on your boiler, but only if it's one of theirs. So if it's a Worcester boiler, it needs to be a Worcester system filter. Hence why I've got that one, because I helped a mate of mine, a gas lad, change, I can't remember what it was now, what the boiler was, but we changed it to a Worcester boiler, and we put a Worcester system filter on it. So that meant that one that was already on the system was begging, so I brought it thinking about doing this with it. Now I've got another one in the van, which I could use on another machine, but I've kind of promised that to Robin, my mate. But if you have a word with, if you know any local plumbers, especially the gas lads, because obviously gas boilers don't seem to last 5 minutes and they're always changing them, they'll come across these quite often, and it literally is just water straight in the top, through the filter, into your tank. Brilliant. Right, let's have a look on this surface grinder. Right, set up, ready to go. Some coolant on. So the volume might sound a little bit different to what I've been doing recently, because wireless mic run out of batteries. Well, I haven't run out of them, I forgot to charge it, so I've got the shotgun mic on top of the camera. So if I sort of wander in and out of it, you'll just have to, well, that's how it is. So anyway, I did what I said I was going to do. I set it up in the mill vise, and on the milling machine, when I run the dial indicator along this, it was within a thou from one end to the other without doing anything. So I tilted it upright, put the parallel on the two round tubes that I showed in the kitchen, zeroed the parallel in, put the two bolts on. I found some M10 studding, and then got it all clamped up. So we'll get some coolant on, and all that coolant all over my new angle plate there. Right, let's get you boys brought in a bit closer. Have to touch off first. I'll take 2 thou at a time on these. Obviously this one's higher than the other one on the right. Oh, I tell you, doing 2 at once, God, that's, can't tell you how better that is. That's 6 thou I've took off that, and it's still not touching the one on the left yet. I think the step over's a bit high. I think I've got about 40 thou step over. This is I don't use the same wheels for this because this is really hard steel. This is a 46H. Will be about 10 thou. Oh, it's just touching the one on the left. When you can feel a little burr underneath the cutting edge all the way along, you know it's sharp then. Take quite a long time to sharpen when they're flat. There's a lot to take off them. it done. One on the left's not too far. Yeah, that one's got a burr all the way along. This one's going to want some more attention, but you get the idea, don't you? So I'm going to get these done, flip them round, do the other side, do the two small ones, and I reckon that'll about do it. Yeah, it's not been a bad year. I see we've got more subscribers again, just over 600 now, so must be doing something right. I don't know what I'll be doing next video wise. We'll have to wait and see what comes through the door, or what I decide to do in here. I'll figure out something that I haven't got that I'd like to make. I don't know yet, but we'll find something. So yeah, I think that'll do. You lads that sent me your email for Bob Dixon, I have passed them on, so you'll have to let me know whether you get any response from Bob, just in case my email hasn't got through to him. I think it has. So yeah, I reckon that'll do it. So I hope you all had a good Christmas. I hope you have a great year this year. Yeah, try and get each year better than the last one, don't we? So we'll see what happens. So anyway, I wish you all a happy new year. I'll see you in 2020. See you later. Bye bye. That's the smaller blade. Works like a dream.